Good morning, everyone, and Shabbat Shalom. We are thankful yet again for another opportunity to be here. We always see it as an honor and a privilege to do the things that we do. God truly has blessed us. May you also receive a blessing from this message. It was a blessing to study. May we all get something that we can relate to and something that helps us out. So we're going to go ahead and stand this morning, if you would. Turn to Proverbs 7. So we're going to go through all of Proverbs 7. There is a topic that I wanted to get out of Proverbs 7. Something that we all deal with. Hopefully you can kind of bring it home and we can get some encouragement. So Proverbs chapter 7, we'll read through the whole thing. My son, guard my words and treasure up my commandments with you. Guard my commands and live, and my Torah as the apple of your eye. Bind them on your fingers, write them on the tablet of your heart. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and call understanding a close friend. To guard you against the strange woman, against the foreigner who flatters with her words. For at the window of my house I looked out through my lattice, and I saw among the simple, I perceived among the youths, a young man lacking heart, passing through the street near her corner, and he went the way to her house. In the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night. And look, a woman met him, dressed like a whore, with a hidden heart. So she was boisterous and stubborn. Her feet did not stay at her house, now in the street, now in the square, and at the corner she lurks. And she took hold of him and kissed him. She hardened her face and said to him, peace offerings are with me. Today I have paid my vows. Therefore I come out to meet you, to earnestly seek your face, and I found you. I have spread my bed with coverings, colored linens of Mitzrayim. I have sprinkled my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until morning. Let us delight ourselves with love. For my husband is not at home. He has gone a long journey. He took a bag of silver with him. He comes home at the day of the covering. With her many words, she led him astray. With her smooth lips, she seduces him. He goes after her immediately. Like an ox, he goes to the slaughter, and as in chains, a fool to the punishment. Till an arrow strikes through his liver, like a bird rushing into a snare, and did not know it was to take his life. And now, listen to me, you children. Pay attention to the words of my mouth. Do not let your heart turn aside to her ways. Do not go astray in her paths. For many are the wounded she has caused to fall, and numerous are all her slain ones. Her house is the way to the grave, going down to the room of death. So let us lift up our eyes. Hashem, Adonai, Elohim, Elyon, Most High. Thank you for this day that you have given us. Thank you for your love. Thank you for how you continue to bless us. Thank you for the things that you show us in your word. Thank you for the things, even here in Proverbs 7, that you have enlightened our eyes to, given us understanding. I pray that we would keep these words, that we would be on guard as we go through our lives, that we would know and be aware of the things that happen to us and the things that try to ensnare us. We just lift you up on high. We thank you for this people. Thank you for this opportunity. It is truly an honor. May you give us the words that are plain, easy to understand, but moreover, easy to apply in our lives. We pray for the growth of the people. We pray for the growth of those who might hear this message. Bring people in that they might hear. We don't need to see them in here, but the point that they would watch the videos and be blessed and have come to a better understanding of who you are and grow that relationship with you. We lift you up on high. You are Elohim. We are your people. Baruch Hashem. Hallelujah. Amen. So, Proverbs 7. We all know that I like Proverbs. I like the wisdom. I like Proverbs, Ecclesiastes. Those are probably some of my favorite books when it comes to wisdom. So Proverbs 7 and verse 1, my son, guard my words. Words refer to ethical teachings and philosophical insights of the Torah. That's Malbim 2:1. So what is philosophy? Philosophy, broken down, literally is the love of wisdom. Okay? That's what philosophy is. Your philosophy governs your whole life. It does. Everything that you lean on, we talked about last week, everybody has a script. Everybody has a script of thoughts that go through your head whenever anything goes on in your life. Anything. And you play that script over. That script could sound something like, you're not worthy, you're not good enough. It's the way you think about yourself, and it's the way you think about your environment. Okay? Everybody's got a script, and we're all in a play. We're all in a dance. Every single one of us. Because you're interacting with people in your life, you're interacting with yourself internally in your environment. And it's all about how you play it. If you don't play it right, you will get played. And as we continue on through this message, it's about awareness. It's about being aware in your life, paying attention to what's going on. As we continue on, it says that he saw the simple ones. The simple. They lacked understanding. They were ignorant to what was going on. The definition literally says naive. They were naive. They lacked understanding. I enjoyed this message. Everybody has something that so quickly ensnares them. Every single one of us. This is personal to each one of us. Okay? So my son, guard my words. The word is referred to ethical teachings and philosophical insights of the Torah. It is to love wisdom. Chai. Now continuing on, because as we get in this, he gave us insight of what this whole book is about. What the whole thing is about. Okay? So my son, guard my words, and we'll talk about being on guard, because we say that often, shamar, protect, preserve. Guard my words and treasure up my commands with you. Guard my commands and what? Live. Chai. Cha-ya. Sorry. Cha-ya. It is to live. It is to have life. Guard my words and remain alive. Sustain your life. Live forever. Be quickened. Guard my words and restore your life. Okay? Restore your health. Revive, repair, be whole. The main topic of Tanakh is life and death. That's it. Life and death. From the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. What did he do? He created, and what did he create? Life. He created life. He created all living things, right? So in the beginning, you see life. And then what happens not long after that? Do not eat of the tree of the garden, because you shall surely die. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So all life was living and teeming, as it says, swarming, doing the things that it did. And then, through disobedience, death comes into the world, right? Now, death, many people try to explain that. To me, I think of how disobedience and just ultimately sin, creating death in your life, how it affects your life, okay? How it affects your environment. It affects your livelihood. It affects your relationships. It affects your marriage. It affects your work. It affects everything. That's what it means to truly die. It's going to affect your life. Okay? It's going to affect your livelihood. That's what that means. We're making it practical. So this whole book, the main topic is, this is what will kill you. Sin, disobedience, transgression. This is what will keep you alive. Faithfulness, obedience, and love. Sin versus faith. The whole thing. Every single bit of it. Every topic that you see in this is this will kill you or this will keep you alive. The whole thing. From the beginning to the end. That's the main topic. Okay? So, what will kill you? How does sin affect you? It affects the aspects of your life. It affects your job, your relationships, your livelihood, your family, your marriage. Sin will affect you. It creates death in your life. So, like we said, what is the first topic? Creation, then disobedience brings death. You shall surely die. So he says, treasure up my commands, guard my commands, and live. There are logical commands. This is product of human logic. It prohibits robbery, murder, deceit. They're called civil laws. If you do this, it will cause death. If you do this, it will cause life. And we talked about balancing out the scales before. If you make uneven scales and somebody knows that you're cheating them out of their money or cheating them out of their product, your life is on the line. Okay? So when he gave us civil laws, he gave us these laws to live civilly with human nature, humankind. That's what he's talking about. Okay? And if you look in Proverbs and it talks about adultery, if you take another man's wife, it says that the fire that is in him burns. It's unquenchable. Jealousy, unquenchable. Okay? There's nothing you can do. You can't bribe him out of it. This is how sin affects your livelihood. It creates death. That's what the whole topic of the book is about. Okay? So, logical commandments are the product of human logic. They prohibit robbery, murder, deceit. These are civil laws. So, when he says, treasure up my commands with you, guard my commands, you're going to live. It will create life in you. If you stay devoted to your wife, what does it do? It creates life. It creates security. It creates safety. Life, living. Do this or don't do that. So, he said, do this and you will live. Bind them. Verse 2, guard my commands and live, and my Torah as the apple of your eye. So we all know Torah is direction, it's instruction, it's giving you a path, okay? It's creating a path for you to walk. It's a basic path. You know why? Because if you get too much into the details, that's when you get the different variants of what it actually reads. He makes it pretty simple, makes it pretty basic, right? For us. So, because that's when you get people that start saying, well, if you don't come to church, you're sinning. Right? Because they've made a variant of what they want you to do through fear to become obedient to their doctrine. So, God gives us direction. It's basic direction. Okay? God talks to you. You particularly. Specifically, personally. And he tells you things that you need to know. Okay? And he's probably told you things that you didn't know, and you just had an intuition, and then it happened. It's called insight. You have two different types of eyes. You have eyes that see the physical world, and you have eyes that try to interpret what's going on. That's insight. So, he says, put them as the apple of your eye. So the apple of your eye is something very important to you, and you are extremely fond of it. I love God's direction in my life. He has told me specific things for me. He guides me personally in my life. He helps me. He encourages me. And you've got to rewrite that script, I'm telling you. If you have been living a certain way, and when we get into this, the difference between the sister and the close bondwoman, or the close... it is kinswoman is what it says. The difference between someone you are fond of and someone that is foreign to you is it's what it is trying to tell us is it is two different streams of thought. Torah is word. When you think about it, you're thinking about the thought, okay? The foreign woman is saying things, okay? Come into my house. I've decked it with myrrh. I've done this and I've done those things, okay? Made it very enticing, right? So this, and I'm telling you, the more that we study and the more that we get to understand, it's all an internal struggle. Every bit of it. You're trying to struggle between, should I do this? Should I not do this? Is this right? Is this wrong? What should I do? What direction should I take? That's where God's direction comes into play. Okay? That's what that means. That's what he's trying to teach us here. Okay, the difference. Because everybody has an internal struggle. Every single one of us. There is something good that you're trying to do, and there is something, the Jews call it evil inclination. I want you to know that this is not something that is external to you. This is something that is internal to you. This is something that is inside of you. Okay? You're not fighting the devil. You're fighting an internal struggle. It's just that the outward influences, and we'll talk about that as we continue on, the outward influences answer to something that's already working within you. Ooh. Did we get that? The outward external influences are already working something that is within you. They're just agreeing. And it makes it stronger. So keep my Torah as the apple of your eye. It's just direction. Keep my instruction. So the apple of the eye is something that is very important to you, extremely fond of, them or it. The apple of the eye. Now, the apple of the eye originates from the pupil. And I was like, well, what in the world does the pupil do? Do you know what the pupil does? It controls how much light enters into your eye by adjusting its size. Whenever you go outside, what happens to your pupil? Zip! It shrinks. Okay? Whenever you're in the dark, what happens to your pupil? Mario. But anyway, it grows. It grows. Okay? So, what are we getting out of this? Adjust in your life to let the proper amount of light come in. Mal Beam says, just as a man zealously protects his eyes, right? So should he heed Torah, which is intellectual eye provides. Spiritual illumination, which is insight, like we talked about before. So, guard it as the apple of your eye. And what that means is it is in spiritual insight. It is illuminating your path. It helps you. Hopefully you come in here expecting to get some sort of help for your week. Maybe it's helping you to make sense of what happened last week. Maybe it is preparing you for something that's going to happen this next coming week. That's my prayer for you. Okay? So, he says, guard it. The Torah is light. He says, guard it as the apple of your eye. Make it as the main focus. It is your attention, the instruction of God in your life, and make it a priority. Your eye adjusts to the amount of light that you need. What does it say? Don't be over-righteous, right? Use what's there properly. And I believe that especially in modern culture, we have used religious context to define and even strengthen personal desire. And that's not what it was intended to do. We have all lost connection, or most of us have. Maybe we're trying to gain that again. Lost connection with the Creator, the source, because it's been muddied by religion. There is something that's within you that is particular to you that no one can take from you that's special. And it does not need a definition. It does not need a name. It does not need to fit into a box. It's your own. That's what men want to do. We want to make it logical, methodical, or into a method in a way that we can observe it and contain it. But God is not something you can do that with. That's why they can't explain God. But try to. So, as you guard your physical eye, you also want to heed Torah, which is the intellectual eye that provides spiritual illumination. The Torah as the apple of your eye, verse 3, bind them on your fingers, write them on the tablet of your heart. So the fingers signify deeds, okay? And the heart signifies thought. And we say that over and over and over and over. And as we continue on through this, the person who gets enticed and falls into it, it says that he lacks or is void of understanding. He's void of heart. He cannot reflect. He cannot, through memory, observe what's going on. Okay? The heart signifies thought. What does it say in Jeremiah? It says that the heart is desperately wicked above all things. Who can know it? Okay, so although we feel like we're simple people, we're actually very complex. We try to use Band-Aids to cover up terminal disease. Do you get what I'm saying? We're not going to the root. We're just trying to feel better day by day. and we're too afraid to dig. So, it's your thought process. When it says heart, it's talking about your thought process. The thoughts that go through your head, the way that you think, the way that you reflect, your memory, your reflection. Bind them on your fingers, write them on the tablet of your heart. So fingers signifies deeds, heart signifies thought. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and call understanding a close friend. So this is talking about being close to wisdom and being close to understanding. So if it is your heart, it's a train of thoughts. It's your script. Okay? How many verses? And it can be a verse from anywhere. And there, like we said before, there are things that our parents taught us and our grandparents taught us that are not in this book. Right? Don't call a kettle black. We used that one before. Right? You don't find that. That's not Proverbs 32:4. Right? Because there is no Proverbs 32:4. Right? Okay. Hopefully you get some of these jokes. But anyway, so there are things that you have learned through your life that are not in here. Right? But they have helped you and they have benefited you. That is now a thought process that you have that helps you in your life. That is your heart. That's your heart. Now, we all have a script. Some people have scripts that are evil and have evil inclination. And it's catered that way. This is our personal battle. This is what's happening inside of you. And it's not only happening inside of you, it happens inside of me. It happens inside of all of us. I thought this was going to be a short message, but I haven't even got to verse 5 yet. So, this is about internal struggle. You're holding on to wisdom. When we think about Torah, we think about God. We think about His direction in our life. We want to be directed towards Him. Good insight, keep my commandments, follow my direction, and you will live. Say to wisdom, verse 4, you are my sister, and call understanding a close friend. Now, what is it for? So wisdom is as a woman, wisdom is as a sister, and it talked about in the different commentaries that a sister is not someone that you can throw away like a friend. They are bonded by blood, okay? Or bonded, it doesn't even have to take blood, it's just family, okay? You are bonded. They're part of you, right? It's not just something you can throw away. You can get, everybody's had all kinds of friends, right, in your life? Some people, I might not even have any friends. I don't know. We had that conversation, but don't worry about me. It's close. It's a bond. It is a bond that just cannot be broken with your family. So he's saying, keep wisdom like that. Love wisdom like that bond that you have with your sister, your close of kin. It says, or understanding as a close friend. What is its purpose? To guard you against the strange woman, against the foreigner who flatters with her words. So another word for foreigner is stranger. So these words are strange to you. Like, I've never heard that. Like, where's this trying to lead me? I don't quite understand. That is all happening inside of you. I didn't mention it this way, but we've all got an internal dialogue. That's something that continues to run through our mind. This foreign woman is a stranger. And both of these, he starts off with words, he starts off with commands, he says, treat this as your sister. Now he's mentioning the foreign woman. So this is close to you, which is wisdom. This is ignorance. This is something you don't understand. This is something that's foreign to you. This is something that's strange to you. Are we getting it? So these are two aspects of word, heart, thought. Thoughts, good and evil. So we have someone who's observing here. And he says, I looked through my window, the window of my house. I looked through the lattice. I saw among the simple. I perceived among the youths a young man lacking heart. Okay, so this man is observing, which is Solomon. if we hold true to what they say of who wrote this. Solomon, his dad is David. So I'm looking out through my window and I'm observing. Everybody does people watching, right? Who doesn't people watch? Yeah, okay. Some of the most entertaining stuff that you'll see in your life, right? Just watch a little bit and you'll see people and you see how they act and you observe how they act. You can see two people who are miserable with each other quick in a relationship. It don't take long at all because you see how they treat each other and how they talk to each other. It don't take no time. So he's like, I'm observing through my window. I was just looking out my window because they didn't have TVs back then. And I was looking out the window and I looked through my lattice and I saw among them the simple. I perceived among the youths a young man lacking heart. So this person is simple. Like we talked about before, too often we think that we're simple, but we're actually very complex. We're trying to cover cancer with a Band-Aid, like I was talking about. We try to fill our routine with stuff, with things. I am bad at it. I've got to stay busy. Do you know what that actually tells you about yourself? That you can't sit down because you might not be comfortable with yourself. You got to stay busy. You always got to be doing something. Can't relax. That's me. There's probably something deeper under the surface. So when this person says that they were simple, you're so simple that you just fall into any trap. But the reality of this, what's the opposite of simple? Complexity. We're not that simple. You need to be a complex person in order to see warning signs. Be observant. Be aware of what's going on around you. I saw among them the simple. I perceived among the youths a young man lacking heart. So he was simple. That is pithi. Simplicity, naive, too open-minded. We talked about that before. You can be open-minded, but don't be so open-minded that your brain falls out, right? So be open-minded, but don't be so open-minded. He was silly, simple, foolish. He lacked heart. That is chaser leb. He was void of understanding, lacking reflection. He was in want of memory, thinking, resolution. So he just did whatever he wanted to do. And like we said before, so there's something that's happening within us. It does not have to do with the devil. We are all fighting an evil inclination that is in us, something that wants to satisfy pride, that wants to satisfy self. And we'll talk about temptation in here. But it's just whenever the external answers the internal, that's when we have the struggle, okay? So there was something within this young man that he already desired. That woman who was out there, which is ultimately it's not wisdom, words, something that's trying to lead you astray. That woman tries to get everybody. That's what it says. She was a harlot. She wanted to entice everybody. Well, why couldn't she entice everybody? And she only enticed the one simple person. Because what was externally happening in his life was internally happening inside of himself. And they both answer each other. Are we getting it? Makes sense? So she tried other people, but she only attracted him. It says that she went everywhere. She didn't stay in her house. She went over here, she went over there, she went back here. And that makes me think of, oh, devil, where did you go to and fro? That's temptation. That's adversity in your life. Is this making sense? I hope so. So I saw among the simple, I perceived among the youths a young man lacking heart. So he could not reflect. How is this going to affect me? He was void of understanding. He lacked memory, resolution, or thinking. We all have an internal dialogue, and a script. The external is answering something that we already think. Something that we already think about ourselves. So, we continue on. Passing through the street near her corner. And he went the way into her house. So, we all have thoughts. We have good thoughts. We have bad thoughts. We have a good inclination. We have an evil inclination. Which one are you answering to? Okay? At this point, we see what's happening in this young man's life. He went the way to her house. He entertained a thought. He entertained it. And what that means is I'm going to give it my time and attention so I can do it. We always mention David. David had something internally already working in him, and all he had to do was see Bathsheba. Your external answers to the internal. Are we getting this? Is it making sense to us? So, he went the way to her house. He already entertained that thought. In the twilight, in the evening, in the black, in the dark night. So they had to find cover. And look, a woman met him, dressed like a whore with a hidden heart. She was boisterous, loud, stubborn. Her feet did not stay at her home. So she's looking for what? Prey. The evil inclination is looking for who it can take advantage of. And if you are weak-minded or weak in heart, same thing, you're going to fall. But that's why we go back to the answer is awareness. Awareness. Are you aware of what's going on inside of you? Can you see it before it happens? That's what it's talking about. He needed to see that woman before he got into trouble. Being aware. Now in the street, now in the square, in every corner she lurks. So she's everywhere. And she took hold of him and kissed him. Remember, this is a deceiving thought. It's something that's trying to lure him away. She hardened her face, so she became determined and said to him, I want him. Peace offerings are with me. Today I have paid my vows. Therefore I came out to meet you, to earnestly seek your face, and I found you. Now, how can we deal with this today in our life? It's called advertisement. This is advertisement today. What is she doing? Putting herself out there. Look what I've done. Look how beautiful it is. And if you look at the alcohol videos, and what really bothers me, and this is where the rabbit hole we started going down this morning in our mind, and the things that he was telling us, and now he's reminding us of it, the prescription drugs. All of the pills that you see that come on, the commercials like that, what are they trying to do? If you do this, you will feel better. Do you feel these things? And if you notice all the symptoms, it's everything. Do you sleep at night? Do you eat? This is for you. I am not one to negate prescriptions for anybody that need them. I'm not. I am not. But what I do want to tell you is they are advertising it because you are the product. They're trying to snare you to bring you in. And we watched that one show, and that's what they talked about, is don't follow those. Don't look at that, because they're just trying to ensnare you to get your money. There's not a lot of clinical trials that go on with those. But that's the advertisement. You are the product. They want your money. They want your time. They want your attention. They want you. This is advertisement. It's trying to ensnare you. Now, I also want to say this, if only we would diet and exercise, it would fix 75-80% of all of our problems. You know that exercise helps with depression? Because when you exercise, it actually releases endorphins into your body and it makes you happy. But what we want is a quick fix. You know why? Because diet and exercise takes effort every single day. We have told you before, you can't eat one salad and be healthy for the rest of your life. We wish it could be that way. But it takes dedication. It takes dedication. It takes time. It takes effort. Hippocrates? I think that's what his name was. He said, let your food be your medicine. So if our food is our medicine, can it not be also what's creating our sickness? Affecting our mental health? Affecting our physical health? Most of your problems can be resolved by those two things. But you know what they don't sell? Those two things. They sell everything else. You know why? Because we want it now. Fix me now. Give me the pill now. We don't want to put the time and the effort and the dedication into it. Yes. So, diet and exercise would fix 80% of your problems. Like we said, depression, a lot of depression is caused by sugar. It affects your brain. So, it's easy. It's advertisement. We want the quick way out. They know that. They know that. You remember when you could go outside? You just went outside. Remember when you were a kid and your parents just said, go outside or I'll give you something to do. Remember that? And you remember when you went out there, you had to have an imagination and you turned sticks into guns and swords? I don't know what you did. Maybe you dug a hole and played with your trucks. I don't know. Maybe you took a doll out there. I have no idea. I don't know what you did as a kid, but that was more freedom than what we had now. I've had the same conversation with a lot of people. Some of them had bells that they would ring. That was mine. The bell would ring and I had to come home. Some would say when the street lights come on, you have to be home. There was just a lot more freedom, but there was less ignorance. There was less ignorance. And what I mean by that is we didn't go home with strangers. We didn't talk to anybody we didn't know. When it was time to come home, you went home. So, have the intelligence. Now, we also live in a different generation because I believe everything connects. Now we believe everybody is going to take our kids. And I'm not saying that that don't happen. So we want to protect our kids. I wish we had more freedom. I wish our kids had more freedom. So, I learned a lot of stuff away from the house. Good stuff and bad stuff. Sometimes we went too far. We didn't go the way where we were supposed to go. Everybody has done it. So, but you were home on time. It's just a different generation that we live in. So, the person lacked understanding. They were simple. This is advertisement. We'll go through all of this. Therefore, I came out to meet you, to earnestly seek your face, and I found you. Now she's about to advertise herself. She's going to look very enticing to get you to come in. I have spread my bed with coverings, colored linens of Mitzrayim. I have sprinkled my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. I don't know what that mix-up would look like, but anyway, obviously they did it somehow. Come, let us take our fill of love until morning. Let us delight ourselves with love, for my husband is not at home. He has gone out on a long journey. He took a bag of silver with him, meaning he's going to stay out for a while. He brought some money. That means he's going to have to buy, sell until he comes back. He comes home on the day of the covering, so he has an appointed time to come back. Don't worry about him coming in on us. That's what she's saying. Don't worry about him. You're going to be okay. You're safe to do this. With her many words, she led him astray. With her smooth lips, she seduced him. Now, I want you, and I want to continue to remind you, this is something that's happening inside of you. You already have a desire, and the desire is within you. And therefore, the external answers the internal. Are we getting it? Are we getting it? This is an internal struggle that you're already dealing with. And now all you're waiting for is the opportunity to jump. And he had the opportunity when she enticed him. And he said, this is what I've been waiting for. Because he was simple. Because he missed understanding. So, this is you. This is in your head. You've already made up an excuse. You've already got a reason why. You've already excused yourself. And you go and do it. What does it say, 21? With her many words, she leads him astray. Remember, the words are thought patterns. This is a good thing or an evil thing. And it's making a difference between the two here. With her many words, she leads him astray. With her smooth lips, she seduces him. You've already been enticed. And it's working within you. He goes after her immediately, like an ox. He goes to the slaughter. It is, when you entice an ox to slaughter, it is with food. So when they go, woohoo, food, that's what happens. Okay? They think that they're going to get a reward. They think the food is there, and then the life is taken. If we had a title for this message, it is called The Snare is Set. It is a snare for your soul. And if you are unaware, if you're unobservant, If you're not paying attention, you're going to get caught in it. It's going to snag you. And I tell you, the snare is set for everybody. The snare is set for any bird that wants to come into it, for any ox that wants to go. It's set for everyone. But we might be the ones that fall into it. He goes after her immediately. Like an ox, he goes to the slaughter, and as in chains, a fool to punishment, till an arrow strikes through his liver. So what that means, the arrow through the liver is once the arrow goes through your liver, your judgment is called. It's done. You're dead. Okay, so that's what that's saying. The decision has been made. Like a bird rushing into a snare that did not know it would take his life. The bird is unaware. You must be on guard. How many times does it say, shamar your heart? Shamar, guard. Guard your heart. Shamar leb. Guard your thoughts. It's your mind that you're trying to protect. Observe what's going through. Why have we never been taught this? You're observing what's going through your mind. Because it's going to lead you one way or the other whenever you go to the house. But you have to be aware of what the end of it is. Some people prepare to do evil. It was already in there. They knew what the end was going to be. I'm telling you, your heart is your thought pattern. It's the thoughts that you think daily. And I want to tell you, and like I said, I want to encourage you, you can rewrite your script. You can rewrite the things that you tell yourself. And I've been talking about support. Support is so important in your life. Reach out if you need help. If you don't want to get help from your family, reach out to a professional. We all have an internal dialogue. He did not know that it would take his life. Like we said, the whole topic of Tanakh is if you do this, you will live. If you do this, you're going to die. And ultimately, and that's what religion talks about, is eternal life. They just want to live forever. And if you do this, you'll live forever. That's what they entice you with. If you only believe, you'll do forever. These are practical things that can help us today, in this life right now, which ultimately lead us to a better life. And that's what the whole sum of it is. The resurrection is a life that is untainted by sin, by corruption, by our past. That's what the resurrection is. That's what we're all hoping for, right? Is we want this new life that's not tainted by my past and the bad decisions I've made. That's what's strengthening us. So the whole topic is life and death. And then it goes a little bit further into eternal life. You shall live forever. So, where am I at? If we are unaware, this is where I got the whole topic for this message. If we are unaware, we're easily distracted. There are so many things in this world that are trying to get your attention and trying to take you. And then I started thinking, well, what is it trying to take me off of? If it's trying to get my attention, there must be a path that I'm trying to be on. And what is this path? Where does this path lead? Then I continue to think about it and meditate on it. The whole thing is life and death. The path is to lead to life. And if it's distracting you, it's distracting you off the path that leads to life. That's what the whole book's about. To not be distracted. If you are unaware, and that's what it says, be on guard. If you are unaware about what's going on, you're going to be distracted and you're going to get off course. If we are unaware, we are easily distracted. This man was simple. The whole concept is life and death. The goal is victory. Victory over what? It's all talking about victory over death. Sin creates death. Sin affects our life. Sin affects our environment. You have sin unto death, and then you have obedience unto life, which brings restoration, brings resurrection. Faith brings life. Faithfulness. If you are faithful to your spouse, it brings life. If you're faithful to your friends, it brings life. If you're faithful to your job, if you're faithful to whatever you're doing, faithfulness brings life. Faithful to your children, faithful to whatever. There is a snare, a trap set for your life. If we are naive, ignorant to what is going on, we will fall in it every time. He was a simple one. He was uneducated, ignorant, oblivious to the truth. There are, what they say, 3 roots to temptation. Okay? The first one is pride. Pride keeps people from celebrating other people's success. Pleasure. Pleasure is craving something outside of God's design. Pleasure, lust, he craves something outside of God's design. And then we have possessions. We understand, it used to be taught to us, well, money is the root of all evil, but even if you looked at that writing, it is the love of money that is the root of all evil. Loving money. When you love money, it's not money itself. You can use money to your advantage. You have to have money in your life, right? Possessions. The love of money can become the root of all evil. But just having possessions and having things, that's covetousness. That's Torah. Wanting something that's not yours. It's not wanting something similar to what someone has. It's wanting the very thing that they have. That's covetousness. That's when you get in trouble. So there are 3 roots of temptation: pride, pleasure, and possessions. Everybody has an evil inclination. Now I want to ask yourself, or I want to ask yourself, I want you to ask yourself through this week, and we always try to give you homework, when you have a boiling emotion, can you identify it? It takes over your body. You can feel it in your body. When it is an evil inclination, try to find the root of it. Is this pride? Do I feel this way because I'm proud? Do I feel this way because I'm trying to get some type of pleasure? Or do I feel this way because I want something? I want something. Let's start to identify these things. Let's get to the root. Everybody has an evil inclination, but I want you to recognize that it's inside of you. It's not an external battle you're fighting. Guard your heart. Be on guard. We must be aware, observe, pay attention to what's going on. This case, it is a woman enticing a man to sleep with her, and she is married. This will affect his life. That one moment of pleasure affected the rest of his life. If you have a good thing going, be smart. Be smart. And that's what we had said before, and I think that that's a revelation for ourselves, and I want to share that with you, is when you're feeling good and you're eating right and you're exercising, why do you fail? You know why? Because you always feel like you could feel better. I feel good, I feel great, I'm feeling wonderful, but this sugar is going to make me feel better. Be content. And we'll talk about that right here. So it affects the rest of your life. If you have something good going for you, be smart. Act wisely. Don't mess it up. Okay? Viktor Frankl, you know how much that I love him. He's the Jewish man that was in the concentration camps, and then he came out and he wrote a lot of different psychological books, and he came up with a certain theory and therapy, but I can't remember what that is right now. But Viktor Frankl, when a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. When people can't find a deep sense of meaning, they will distract themselves with pleasure. And it's something as simple as, it can be a cell phone. People today, I don't even know if anybody even looks to see what's going on around them. People are this all the time, this all the time, this all the time. And I'll tell you, and I'll tell you again, I don't know if I said it before, outside of here or in here, by feeling like we are connected through this, it has actually disconnected us. It has ruined our humanity. You know how many more people now are actually afraid of being public speakers or having a conversation with someone or going out into the public? Because behind this, you can be whoever you want to be. But when you get out there, it really shows who you are. Because we all have a mask. We all have a persona, like I talked about last week. We can be whoever we want to be on Facebook. I can be whoever I want to be on social media. But once you meet me in person, that's who I really am. That's where the rubber hits the road. We've lost our humanity. And you know what? You learn and you grow through your mistakes. If you interact with someone, when I do safety walkthroughs, or when I do the walkthroughs, and I'm with those people, I mess up. I mess up here. I mess up words. I say something too quick. I'm going too fast. Whatever it is, I mess up. I do, but I don't internalize it. You guys probably maybe don't even recognize when I mess up, but I do. Because I skip over words, and I say the wrong word, and I mess up a word. Obeisance. Man, it took me forever to learn how to say that word. But I'm okay with that. You know why? Because it is on my path of progression. I mess up. You know what? It makes you better. If I don't notice it, maybe you don't notice it. So I don't let it affect me. I just keep on going, and that's the answer. Just keep on going, because you're still learning. We've lost our humanity. We've lost our connection to each other. We're so divided, and that's the goal for them, to divide us all. So, we said the quote from Viktor Frankl, constant desire for pleasure is empty. It's unsatisfactory. Same thing with constant desire for joy. We have been sold a life of happiness. You just want to be happy. You just want to be happy. Happy, 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 happy. There is nothing on earth that can provide you constant happiness. Nothing. Well, you might think, well, my spouse. I'm sorry. Sometimes you're disappointed with each other. Sometimes you don't see eye to eye. My kids. Sometimes your kids are disobedient. They don't do what you want them to do. You're not always happy with my job. Your boss is over you. Sometimes they tell you to do something you don't necessarily want to do. Money. Money has wings like eagles. It flies away. Can't ever have enough. And then we get into substance abuse. You always want more. Nothing in this world is going to give you a constant sense of satisfaction and happiness. So what's the answer? Contentment. Be thankful for what you do have. That will bring you joy in your life. Proverbs 6, and we'll close out. Proverbs 6, everybody struggles. Every single person. We all have an internal dialogue. We all have an internal script. We're all struggling on the inside, every single one of us. That's why I tell you support is so important, but even more, seeking God. Seeking God. What's your purpose? Proverbs 6 and verse 6. Let me see where I'm at here. Go to the ant, you lazy one. See her ways to be wise, which, having no commander, overseer, or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer, gathers her food in the harvest. You probably had never been told this, but when they didn't have entertainment, when all they had was like training, and they had things that they taught their children, and they're all just really worrying about living, there was a little bit of entertainment back there, but nothing like we have today. It's so readily available, all types of entertainment. They went outside and they watched. They looked at nature. They learned things from nature. They learned things from the wind. They learned things from the ant. They watched the deer. They watched this. They watched that. And they learned things to help them in their life. This is what he says. Go look at the ant. Provides her supplies in the summer, gathers her food in the harvest. How long would you lie down, O lazy one? When do you arise from your sleep? A little slumber, a little folding of the hands to lie down, and your poverty shall come like a prowler, and your need as an armed man. What does he say? I'll just sleep for a minute. I'll just lay here. Just let me relax for a minute. The relaxing is what causes the poverty. So what is he talking about? He becomes slack and unaware. unaware of what is going on. And then it says, the folding of the hands to lie down, and your poverty shall come like a prowler without warning. If you aren't aware, if you're not paying attention, the snare is set for your soul. The goal is the glory, the victory over self-temptation, destruction, and death. Be aware. The snare is set for everyone. Be aware of the snare and don't fall into the trap. Be open. What does it say? The wise man's eyes are in his head. Observe what's going on. See what's happening in your life. Appreciate the things that you have. If it's going good for you, don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. Contentment is the answer for happiness, for joy. We love you all. Everybody have a blessed Sabbath. Shabbat shalom.